This guest is an anytime guest, and she's joining us on this I guess anytime is right now. Her new book is a young reader's edition of her bestseller for the New York Times. It is called Wolfpack, and she is a two-time Olympic gold medalist and a FIFA World Cup champion, author, and an all-around great human, Abby Wambach, here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Abby?
Oh, man, Rich, I'm good. How are you? I still can't believe that you can talk for 3 hours every day. It's like, how do you even do it? You're amazing.
Well, I whenever I watched you do what you did, I thought, how in the world do you run around for as long as you do and then actually execute? I don't know. So I guess.
Touché.
Did I just call myself the Abby Wambach of broadcasting?
You did.
Did I just do that?
You did, and I'll take it. When you get far enough away from your career, you forget. You just forget, and so you're like, yes, you were just like me right now.
I appreciate that.
For sure.
Very good. Thank you, Abby. I will take that and run with it. So let's unpack this a little bit right here. This book, based on your New York Times bestseller Wolfpack, and you decided to write it for young people. How young people will find their voice, unite their pack, and change the world. I give you the floor on why you did this, Abby.
Yeah, the book Wolfpack that I released a couple of years ago, a year and a half now, it did so well, and I am super proud of it. But I thought, right now especially, there's no more important time to hand leadership books to our kids that are based and forged in honor. The world feels a little bit askew or tilted, or however you want to look at it. And I just think it's important that our kids know and have other outlets than, media and their social media and TikTok to get their information from. My philosophy was learned from my experience on the national team. I learned from so many amazing, women who taught me not only everything that I know, but everything about myself, right? And I'm still learning to this day. I think it's really important. And my wish for this book truly is that it can become the new family bedtime story or bedtime reading around the world, because, gosh, I do think our kids need a little bit of reprieve from the current news cycle that we're kind of in. Well,
Abby, I got to tell you, I am bringing this home to my kids. I've got a 12-year-old boy, 9-year-old boy, 7-year-old girl, and it's not easy living inside. It's not easy right now. It's very difficult, and so discussing about the future and talking about the future in a positive sense and how they can shape it and they can take control of it when nothing's in their control right now at all, I think is a valuable message, quite frankly.
Well, and I think that right now especially, we have to empower, and I hate that word, it's overused, but we do have to give our kids the tools to be able to make decisions on their own, right? Because at the end of the day, they're going to have to be the ones that deal with the habits and the addictions that they create around their, usage of social media or their devices or whatever it is that we're talking about, And I think that to be internally motivated and then to understand the dynamics of what real leadership is about. It's not just about waking up on time and getting to school on time or showing up on your virtual class on time. It's like, how are you trying to make that experience as positive and as best for everybody in that experience as possible? It's about the collective, right? And I understand that you're not going to get along with everybody. Believe me, I didn't get along with every single one of my teammates. But at the end of the day, because they showed up and because they were one of the best in the world at what they did, I respected them. And so I think that we have to go back a little bit and uncover and unpack some of the reasons what we're doing, right? Like why is it important to talk to each other with respect, right? Why is it important? And essentially, this book, my hope is that the kids in their worlds can create and co-create the environments that they exist in, which, in the end, I think you get further along. You have much more success in life when you have people to do life with. So find your people, make your packs, and change the world.
Abby Wambach here on the Rich Eisen Show. Okay, who did you hate as teammates now? Let's you open the door on that.
I didn't hate anybody, but
by the way, did I miss your message about respect? Did that just go straight over my head? Did the sports talk radio host in me just come out all of a sudden? Is that what you said?
It did, but and that's why you're so good.
Okay.
Look, I think that it's just important for all kids to understand, and especially now, like when you turn your TV on and you see two presidential candidates that are just being disrespectful to each other, none of that can be condoned. It's like all of us parents wanted to turn off the television. That used to be a thing that we would bring our kids into and be like, watch this. These are our leaders of our country. And now us parents are like, no, actually, we need to turn this off. We are not teaching our children this. And, we also have to remember that this is impacting us as adults as well. I think even though this is adapted for the young reader, I think that maybe some of us parents should go back to the beginning and take a look at it as well.
Oh, my wife and I didn't even entertain having our children watch the presidential debate. We didn't, but we're planning on having them watch the VP debate, though. I mean, we're already discussing that. That's what we're talking about, and that's the whole thing too. Is that that's an exhale of from the last several months here, Abby. Is the fact that respect could be politicized as a conversation. It's insane.
It's so baffling. Yeah, it's baffling.
The fact that I'm sitting here saying like, okay, here we are talking about respect, and there might be some people sitting and listening to this saying, why are they being political? It's like, no. That's not. It's just because somebody does have a default of disrespect. That might be your view of this being as political, but this should be an apolitical part of our conversation. The issues that you have in this book, Wolfpack, Abby Wambach here, this should not be a political conversation, Abby.
Yeah, I mean, like you say tomato, I say tomato sort of thing. Like, it's like, look, when we're talking about life, okay, and we're talking about people, and we're talking about the way we think things should go, right? Way that we think that the life should be lived by a single person or a whole slew of people. Like, at the end of the day, like when laws and you live in a country that determine what happens to the individual and the collective, like everything is political if you want to get real like specific about it. But I get it. I get that politics, the way that the world feels so politicized and how it's going to be talked about and turned around, I do believe that we need to get it back to a level of human decency, and to be able to disagree on things in a manner that is kind and that isn't, winner take all attitude. Like, whatever happened to, we're going to get some and we're probably going to lose some, but in general, we're all moving in the right direction and we're all getting enough of what we need. And that's just the struggle that I'm having with right now. So for me and my family, I believe, and this is true, that no matter what, I think there's always an opportunity, right? There's two ways you can always look at a situation, one with positive glasses on and another with negative glasses on. I'm a solutions-oriented person. Clearly, I think that things can change, but I'm not going to be only pointing at the negative rather than, for me, what my family tries to do is really figure out, okay, what are things that we can control, that we can solve, that we can have positive effect, so that the outcome feels good enough to us, right? It's not like I want everything, and so I'm going to demonize the entirety of the Republican Party, because I'm sure everybody knows and understands that I'm a little bit more liberal. At the end of the day, I still want to understand why folks, and the Republican folks that I know, the folks who really care about that party, what they believe in, what is true. So how do we come to the middle? It's like, okay, I'm going to focus on what I feel is most important to me, what I can control, and maybe go about trying to fix it rather than just talking crap and complaining about the things that you don't have or the things that you fear you're going to lose. Like, we gotta figure out how we can get back to some sense of normalcy, where everybody is feeling like they're respected and not being abused or murdered or victimized, right? So, I don't know, I could go all day. And for people who want to complain and gripe about it not being political, like, grow up. Like, everything's political.
No, I understand, Abby, and it's about owning your actions and being responsible for it instead of just owning someone for the sake of owning them. I think that's really what things are becoming like right now. And, not to get too deep about it, Abby Wambach here on the Rich Eisen Show. As we know, COVID finds the weakness everywhere, whether it's your body, your health, your family, your well-being, all of it. In terms of youth sports, my youngest son and my daughter would already be a couple of weeks into their AYSO season that doesn't exist right now. I'm wondering what you're seeing about the effect of youth sports and youth soccer right now as things, because of the success of you and your cohorts and successors on the U.S. women's national team, as well as hopefully what we're seeing out of Christian Pulisic and more, that we're what I'm saying, that we're seeing more attention being paid to soccer in the United States. I wonder what you're seeing the effect of COVID is on this.
Yeah, I understand that it's in every state. There's different phases that have allowed some kids to go back to playing soccer and some haven't, right? My biggest concern right now isn't about kids around the country not getting better at soccer. My bigger concern is their mental health around not getting outside and being around their friends and getting active and getting their blood moving. I've talked to a lot of kids. I've done a lot of little book club things where, the kids haven't been able to hang out with their friends, and that's such a huge component to youth sports. Some kids are going stir crazy because they can't get outside and they can't run around and they can't feel that fatigue that comes only after a long week of training. That kind of stuff for me, the mental health component to it feels more worrisome for me. But I also know that kids are resilient; they'll bounce back real quick. And the longer and the better we can be as a collective to maintaining some sense of decency for each other, wearing masks and adhering to the rules of your state or your city governor or whatever it is, so that we can actually get through this together. Because, unfortunately, being so divided right now, we do need to actually come together to solve this bigger problem with COVID. And it seems like that's becoming evident that's like the bigger problem than the actual disease itself. And I think it's like an experiment in human relations right now. If we could all just agree to do the same thing for a long enough period of time to wait this out, people might be able to actually go play sports before the vaccine comes out, right? Like, who knows? And I'm obviously not a doctor, so take that with a grain of salt. I just believe that this is like the most interesting human experiment of all time, and we're failing, like miserably failing as a species.
Abby Wambach here on the Rich Eisen Show. Wolfpack, based on the #1 New York Times bestseller. There is now, again, a youth edition. I can't wait to bring it, youth readers edition. Can't wait to bring this home to my kids. I guess before I let you go, I don't know if you're a fan of American football, but you're from Rochester. If so, does that mean you're a Buffalo Bills individual or not at all, Abby?
God, this is tough. I went through the 90s with the Buffalo Bills. Mm-hmm. I was a teenager when we went to 4 straight Super Bowls, and Jim Kelly could never bring one home. So my heart is forever broken by the Buffalo Bills, I think. And it's been hard for me to follow them, especially because then they were terrible for many, 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 many years.
Yes.
So will I be a fair weather fan? You're absolutely right. I will be.
Of course.
Right? If
good.
They continue to keep going well, then of course I'll support them.
Okay. Well, let the Abby Wambach of broadcasting tell the actual Abby Wambach, come on home. The Bills are waiting for you. They're pretty damn good right now. Go for it. Go for it. I don't think they're going to break.
Come on. Come on, Buffalo Bills. Let's go. Let's go. Like, keep kicking butt. And maybe one day you'll find me at the stadium watching you with a mask on.
That's it. Very good. Hey, Abby, congrats on the book. And I meant it. You are an anytime guest. Anytime you want to come on, just, chop it up. Whether you got something to promote or not, I always enjoy our chats. Thank you.
Same, Rich. You take care, man.
Right back
Thanks
at
for
you.
having me.
You got it. That's Abby Wambach. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.